My dear students, in this video, I would like to discuss some points from the drama A Doll's House. This is a play written by Henrik Ibsen. I would like to introduce the main characters from this play. They are Torvald Helmer, his wife Nora, Dr. Rank, Mrs. Linden, Nils Krogstad, the Helmer's three children, Anna, their nurse, a maid servant, and a porter. The action takes place in Helmer's house, a flat. This play deals with the problems that happens in the family life. Man-woman relationship is the theme of this play. Often we consider Henrik Ibsen's plays as problems plays because it deals with the current issues of that time. So in this play, he addresses the women issue. He talks about the equality of women. In a patriarchal setup, we come to know that often the dreams and desires of women are crushed. Here in this play, when the play begins, we find that Nora Helmer arranges the house for the Christmas. The play takes place in the eve of Christmas. She arranges the house for the Christmas function, and also she buys gifts for her family members. We come to know that Nora's husband, Torvald Helmer, is going to be a bank manager very soon. They were living in poverty, but now they are going to be rich because he is going to get a good position in the bank. In the first scene itself, we are introduced to the other characters. That is Dr. Rank. He's a family friend who often visits the family. And we find another character who also appears in the first scene, that is Mrs. Linden. She is actually a friend of Nora. She is visiting her after long years, after 8 or 9 years. Now she is a widow and she has no children or she has no money. So she requests Nora for some job. And also in that conversation, we come to know that Nora's husband was also suffering from poverty and he also suffered from an illness. As a result of that, they had to go stay in Italy, and they stayed there for almost a year. And they had to manage some money. That is, they borrowed a huge sum of money for his treatment, which she tells her friend that he managed to get from some admirers. Later we come to know that this is going to be an issue. And at the same time, we find another character appears, that is Krogstad. He's an employee of the bank, and he goes and meets Mr. Torvald. Then he leaves. Now we find that Nora introduces her friend to Torvald and Dr. Rank, and she also talks about her condition and asks him to give her a job, which he agrees. Now these three people leave the house, that is Torvald, Dr. Rank, and also Mrs. Linden leaves the house. Then we find again Nils Krogstad enters when Nora is alone, and he reminds her that, or he asks her to pursue her husband to reinstate him that job. But she says that it is impossible. Then he talks about a contract. We come to know that Nora borrowed money for her husband's treatment from Krogstad. At that time, he managed to get a contract from her. In that contract, he wanted her father's sign. But at that time, her father was also suffering from an illness. So what did Nora do? She signed herself and she put a date. But Crockstar reminds her that the date was given 3 days after the death of her father. And he reminds that this letter is forged. And Nora frankly acknowledges that this was signed by herself, and because her father and husband was suffering from an illness, so she has no other option. But he reminds that this is a criminal offense. So if he goes to court, she will be punished. Okay. And he again threatens her that this will be revealed to her husband. So in the other two scenes, we find that Nora tries to convince, or she struggles to hide this from her husband. At first, she tries to share this with Dr. Rank, who often visits her house, and her family friend. But in that occasion, Dr. Rank reveals his love for Nora. So she doesn't share that secret. She says that she considered him as only a friend. And this man, Dr. Rank, is a patient. I mean, he's also suffering from illness, and he's going to die. He has some problem, that is, he's suffering from tuberculosis that affected his spinal cord, and he says that he's going to die soon, and he will write a letter if it is confirmed to Nora. And Mr. Torvald actually wants his wife to perform a dance during that party, and he brought a new clothes to her, and there is some a portion was torn, and we find Linden, Mrs. Linden, helps her to mend that part. And while she was doing that, Nora reveals her problem to Mrs. Linden. She says that she borrowed money from Rockstar, and now he's blackmailing her. Then Linda consoles her, and she says that she knows Rockstar already. They were in love, but because of her condition, she didn't marry him. She had to take care of her brothers and a mother, so she rejected his proposal. Now she agrees to meet him and convince him about the situation. Now in the Act 3, we find that Linda goes to Krogstad and talks to him. And now at this time, she is a widow and he is a widower. So she says that if you are ready to allow her to take care of her children, that is, if he marries her, she will have something to look forward to. And he agrees. That Krogstad was really happy, and he agrees to that suggestion. Now he also agrees to her request. What is that? He agrees to apologize to Nora and also returns that contract. But Linden says that this has to be revealed so that all the problem will be over. But in the last scenes, we find that when the dance performance takes place, after that they have a personal moment, that husband and wife. And after some time, here we find that in that scene, she is very disturbed. But later on, the man goes and the husband goes and read the letter that he received. First letter was from the Dr. Rank, where he confirms that he is going to die. Next letter was from Krogstad, in that letter he talks about the crime that she commits. That letter, he becomes extremely angry. He calls her a liar, hypocrite, and he says that she is not fit to take care of his children. At the same time, the maid comes with another letter that is also from Krogstad. Nora receives that, but her husband takes it from her and reads. In that letter, We find that contract is returned. Immediately when he sees this, he burns the two letters and says that we are saved because the reputation is now secured. Nobody is going to know that she has committed a crime. Now we find Nora goes her room and changes her clothes, and she returns and she announces that she is going to leave him. This is a startling moment in the play. We come to know that Nora says that I expected a miracle. When the letter is revealed, you will accept the crime and take the crime yourself. But that never happened. That didn't happen. And she says that we are the husband and wife, they are living as strangers. For her, she is living as a doll, at first in her father's house, now in her husband's house. They forget that she is a human being. She has done, sacrificed many things for the husband and father, but they are not able to understand that. They do everything for their convenience. And now she says that now I want to live for myself. I want to learn things for myself. So I want to understand life and I want to stay in my 2 feet. And then she returns her ring and she leaves the house. That's where the play ends. The play is remarkable in the sense that it challenges the role of a husband and wife, the accepted role, where it is said that the woman is supposed to take care of the family. She is supposed to do her obligation as a one who takes care of her husband and children. But we often forget that a woman is also a human being. She has also her dreams and desires, her feelings. Often these are ignored. We find that family relationships are always patriarchal nature. When this was revealed, I mean, this was published in the 19th century, this created a great uproar in the society. Some people did not accept Nora's exit. That means Nora's decision to leave. There are critics who wrote articles saying that Nora's decision was not a good decision. Today also when we discuss this, we find that in Kerala recently a suicide happened, Vismaya case, where you find the girl committed suicide because of a dowry issue. She was suffering a lot. She is not ready to leave house. She has no other option. Though she is educated, she committed suicide. You might have watched the movie The Great Indian Kitchen, where what is happening in our Kerala atmosphere is, situation is revealed. So it's a high time when we looked at our husband and wife relationships in a critical framework. The play ends. This is also relevant today, I think. When the play ends, we are forced to ask some very pertinent questions. That is, the questions include the role of a husband and a wife. In a family relationship, what is the responsibility of a husband and a wife? You have to understand that this play is in any way criticizes the institution of marriage, but it actually asks us to think critically the roles of husband and wife. Who is responsible for, or is it the only responsibility of a wife to take care of the family? You have plenty of instances in this play where Nora says that when she's about to leave, she says that this is the first time that we are going to have some serious discussion in our family. We should ask a question, how many families are there where there is no discussion takes place between husband and wife. Always husband dominates and the wife is supposed to obey. So these are some of the questions that this play addresses, and this was written at a time in the 19th century where a woman is supposed to follow the instructions and she has no right as such that are enjoyed today. So when you look at this in a critical perspective, this raises a lot of concerns about the role of a woman in a society and how we should change our family system that accepts the individuality of a woman and accept what you call the role of a woman as a human being first before she is called as a wife or a mother. Hope you will read this. This is a wonderful play and there is a movie based on this. You can watch that. I request you to read the play, enjoy it, and also study topics related to that. You can expect essay question from this, and I request you to read more about this. Thank you so much.